Things have been a little tense lately. Let's put some fun back into the game. What's good? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are kicking off another deck profile in the Temporal Forces format. How's it treating you? How are you doing? How's your day going? Today we're taking a look at a more for fun deck in Raging Bull TX. I know, the People's Champ. I've been clamoring to get at this one. It's a silly fun deck. So let's take a look at some of the highlights. But before I dive in, if you enjoyed today's video or style, be sure to let me know down below what I can do better, what you liked and what you didn't like. It goes a long way and I'm always trying to improve. But back into the video. So some of the good numbers: 240 hit points on a basic 2-prize Pokemon is nothing to scoff at. There's no weakness cheese. You are doing very, very good, and being above the 220, 230 threshold is very nice. It is an ancient Pokemon, so we have plenty of support at our disposal. It has no damage cap, so I'm going to gloss over the first attack. If you're using that, you're probably in a really bad pinch. But Bellowing Thunder for a lightning and a fighting does 70 times the number of basic energy you discarded from your Pokemon. Not this Pokemon, any Pokemon. So you can accelerate this by several means. I'm going to show you the way I'm doing it today. If you need to hit 350, you need to hit 420, you need to hit 490, you can do that. Unfortunately, we do not have any weakness to help us out, but that's okay. Getting energy on this thing, getting it into play is not a hard task to do. You'll have a ton of fun. Trust me, I did today in today's video. Reliable acceleration. I briefly mentioned the support. There are quite a few ancient tools that make this a joy to play. Just a quick disclaimer, it is a more for fun deck, but it can beat on particular decks doing well in the meta, and you might be able to spike a placement here or there. Moving on to the ancient support, we have quite a few tricks in the bag. First up, the main one you need to be very familiar with, the ever-powerful Sada's Vitality. Choose up to 2 of your ancient Pokemon and attach 1 basic energy to each of them. If you've done this, draw 3 cards. It is our main means of draw. It is our main means of acceleration. So we are always looking for this. Typically try to go second because we want to be able to pop this off first turn of the game. Earthen Vessel. Energy do us no good if they're stuck in the deck. So this card allows us to find them. Discard a card from your hand, search for 2 basic energy from the deck, reveal them, put them into the hand. They could be fighting, they could be lightning, doesn't matter. Situation calls for it, they just have to get out of the deck. They don't do us any favors there. Of course, partner in crime, Sandy Shocks EX. When your opponent has 4 or fewer prizes remaining, you may accelerate 1 basic fighting energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. This, Raging Bolt, Silly Damage, and Sada's Vitality, it's not hard to reach 4, 5, 6 energy on turn 2 of the game. Ancient Booster Capsule. Did you think 240 is where this Pokemon capped out? Nah, we're going all the way up to 300 on a 2-prize basic Pokemon. That is a tough ask for 1-prize decks and other big beat stick decks early in the game. And if we can just steal a little bit of tempo, we can run away with the game. That's what we try to do with this deck, is we run them off the board with all of this incredible ancient support. The 1-prize partner. Let's address the elephant, ancient elephant in the room, or I don't know what that is, ancient moth, whatever. So which one do you choose? Most decks are leaning a certain way, but both cards have their merits. So Great Tusk, for 2 colorless energy, discards the top card of your opponent's deck. If you played an ancient supporter, Sada, you may discard the top 3 additional 3 cards off their deck. So 4 cards off the top is very nice, and for 2 fighting and 2 colorless, you do 160. So again, you're knocking out anything weak to fighting with this card, and you're providing an additional win condition in your deck. Big fan. Slitherwing, however, hits fighting weakness on the cheap. For 1 fighting energy, discards the top card of your opponent's deck. So it's the other option, but cheaper. And for 2 fighting energy, 120, this thing takes 90 to itself, and your opponent's active is burned. So roughly you're dealing about 250 if they're weak to you. So there's an Iron Hands threat running around. Which one do you currently value? That'll determine your choice here. I like the layer that Great Tusk adds, and I definitely think you should try it out before you knock it. If you don't like it after trying it, let me know in the comments below how it fared for you. I'm going to try to show it in action today too. And of course, we quickly talk about the matchup spreads. I'm not going to go into the nuances. This isn't a how to play guide. This is a for fun. We're going to roll with the meta and see what happens. So the good just means I don't mind it. We can typically find ways to squeak out wins. Charizard, Goldingo, Dialga, Ancient Box, fine. These are great. Arceus, Chenpao, Lost Zone Giratina, those decks are a little iffy because they can work through our EX rather quickly. So if we can't respond, or if they initiate the 2-prize trade before we do, we're kind of up the creek without a paddle. And of course, bad. If you notice a particular trend here, they're either 1-prizers hitting for big damage and we can't uptrade with that reliably. They're control variants. 3 out of 5 of them are control. We go so fast that if they just put a little bit of annoyance into our plan or maybe throw away a few cards before we're ready, we just kind of lose. And then, of course, Lugia, they switch over to the Chinchino army. If they don't, and we run off the Lugias and the support Pokemon, we're fine. It's not one I'm going to confidently sit there and say is a good matchup. Pause if you need to take a look at it. Ask questions down below. I'm happy to answer them when I get the time. And of course, the list. So this one here, I've made some tinkering to some of the more popular lists you've seen. Three of our main engine. Fourth copy is just overkill because we're playing Heavy Ball. One Lumineon, one Squawk. We do rely on the support Pokemon heavily. I'll misplay with them later. Radiant Greninja, again, discards energy and gets us 2 cards. So it turns that Sada's Vitality into a draw 5, is what it feels like. One a copy of Iono, because sometimes we just do need to break their hand apart. One Boss, because the item search Gust is not always enough. And then, of course, this is where the questionable counts come in. Where's the Pokestop? I gamble enough. I make a lot of bad choices already. Pokestop is a scam people are pitching to you by the big Pika media. You know who you are advocating for the stop. I do make enough bad choices. I do not need to see double Sada and an Iono or double Sada and a Raging Bolt hit the discard pile. No, thank you. I've learned from my mistakes. Nah, not happening to this guy. I prefer additional copies of things as it frees up my plays and allows me to discard more freely. We're throwing cards to the wind and having 4 Pokégear, which allows us to actually find a Sada. Pokestop does not. Or an extra Switch Cart, because they might only anticipate the 1 or the 2, and then they strand you. Or a Fortune Sister, or Erie, or whatever. They try to really slow you down. It allows us to keep working. Or Switch Cards allow us to manipulate damage on us, and we can just keep moving around the board. Town Store is such a really good card in this deck. If you're looking for anything to quickly change, though, you can take a copy off the top and go back to the vanilla Pokestop list. You're not going to see it from this guy. No way. There's not an argument you can make. This is how I'm rocking the list. Let's take a look at a few upgrades from Twilight Masquerade. So you blinked, and the Temporal Forces format is almost over. Or for some of you, it's been a grueling nightmare that you've been counting the days away from. What cards make this deck better, or potentially smooth things over a little more? First off, Tatsugiri. It has the ability, this is the reason why we're looking at it, it's also a dragon, so it's kind of funny. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon's in the active spot, look at the top 6 cards of your deck, reveal a supporter card, put it into your hand. So this is Pokégear on a Pokemon. So we put that into the lead, the 1 prizer, so they have to hit into that if we're not quite ready. It allows us to find our Sadas a little more freely. So it's a reusable Pokégear. We already have Rescue Board in format. The Pokemon this card is attached to has 1 less colorless in its retreat cost. If the Pokemon is 30 HP or less, it has no retreat cost. So let's say Raging Bolt takes a hit. Good. Double utility. Great. We already played Town Store. This is a very easy slot in. So let's say Prime Catcher's not for you, or it's not in the budget or whatever. You may play this card if your opponent knocked out a Pokemon the previous turn. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck. The player who played this card draws 5. The opponent draws 2. Maybe the disruption is the way we go next format. It's an item-based draw disruption. So it's Iono plus Sada. I can see some value here. You can make the case. Maybe you want the over-aggression. Maybe you want a little bit of defense. Unfair Stamp's not too bad. Kieran. So it's a switch card to switch your active with your bench, or your Pokemon does 30 more damage to the opponent's EX. And of course, Carmine. The Squawkabilly not sitting right with you. Too much of a liability as a bench sitter. You want to make sure you always go first. Play a couple copies of this. If you go first, you can play it on the first turn of the game. Discard your hand, draw 5. So you can cut the Squawkabilly, maybe a couple other cards, add some Carmine. You're playing a couple copies of Tatsugiri. Worth considering. Probably not going to make their way into the list outside of the Tatsugiri. We're going to jump over to the gameplay and show you this deck in action. Enjoy. All right, so we got some pretty good games ahead of us. So we're jumping into the first one. So I'm going to try to narrate as we go. I always want to go second with this deck. Being able to Sada's Vitality is more important than any sort of advantage. Great Tusk is a nice early option. What I'm thinking is we can maybe take a few cards off the top, force them to burn a boss. They're playing Dialga. This is one that, again, I don't mind seeing, because they have to rely on so many blind moving parts. So if we hit them with 1 or 2 Great Tusk Mills, fantastic. And the Dialga Star Chronos only does 220. So I'm thinning out the deck properly. I am going for the Squawk. I am going to dig. I need to thin out this deck. I do. So then I'm going to Sada right away. This locks in that I'm going to get the Great Tusk. We're going to commit to that play, and then we're going to Squawk and Seize. We're going to thin out the deck. Ancient Booster Capsule means they're not getting anything cheesy. I probably should have put it on the Sandy Shocks, but there's 4 cards off the top. We hit 2 supporters right there. They're not getting those back. So now their draw just got a little worse. There's only 2 cards. Of course, they had the 3rd one. But you know what I mean? It's getting a little harder for them to keep up with the resources. I would definitely like to get another mill and hopefully hit another rot. If we can put more pressure on those resources, I'm here for it. Let's go. No energy in the discard pile. Okay. All right. Sada, we have for next turn. That's fine. We'll play it safe. Look at that. Never punished. We hit the rod. What's not to like? And there is Dialga. So Dialga is on the board. We already have 3 energy. So I am... Oh, perfect. Okay, they knew it was coming. Look at that. We're just popping, rolling. We're going. We've taken 2 rods away from them. There's 1 Dialga. I definitely need to get a booster capsule on to the Sandy Shocks at some point. Okay. Just keep discarding energy. Thinning out energy before we have to draw into them is much better. They don't do us anything by naturally drawing into them, so we can pluck them out. Do it. So there, we'll put some more energy on the board. No urgency. None. We'll just keep discarding cards. There goes a boss. Another resource they don't have access to. Makes it harder for them to clean up in the late game. Because they're going to Star Chronos. If they Star Chronos the Raging Bolt, they're going to have to work through it. There's the 3rd rod gone. Okay. He's either got to deal with the Great Tusk, or I'm going to keep throwing cards away. 9 cards have been thrown away from this deck that is already very energy hungry. Hell, I could just recycle and just keep going off the Great Tusk and go for a build win. Okay. And he's got to deal with it. And now we're going to blow it up. And we have the energy in the discard pile. We can start accelerating. Sada every turn should be the plan. Make them have it, and with Great Tusk, it makes it harder for them to have it. Concede. Well, let's try jumping into another one. So Dialga's one that just burns through resources rather quickly. So again, a good Great Tusk here or there slows them down. We're not going to outpunch them with a Slitherwing. You're just not. And we're not going to start incorporating fire attackers because that's just a terrible, terrible idea. Same with adding water energy to this deck. Don't do that. Just don't. We'll see. Lately, I've been enjoying my opponent picking my going first or second. We'll just blindly go second. We're a 240 hit point Pokemon. Even Charizard's not getting through us right away. We'll have at least 2 hits, and if it takes them 2 to go through us, bring it on. They have to commit the candy. They have to commit the attach. Super Rod to get it back. They can play a lot of Iono spam, which makes this deck a little ugly. Putting all those good resources at the bottom of the deck. We shall see. There we go. That's a builder hand. Like a good builder. Oh, Charizard. Let's see how this one goes. Back and forth. Okay. Radiant Greninja. We'll need Squawk. We don't really need Lumineon here. Let's get another Pokemon. I want to go Raikou only because it allows me to find the Force Seal Stone. That's the big thing. So now I can... Ooh. Okay. Sometimes you miss the gears. Katsuguri might be better. Earthen Vessel. Not bad. Okay. So we will attach. They have 1 Charmander active. So we get that off the board. 300 hit point Pokemon. We set them back. Right there. Slow starts. The stage 2 deck. Punish them. We can run them off the game. They quickly concede. Works for me. But Charmander has time. Charmander has resources. They can quickly climb back and just buddy PAF in their way through. Just because you knock out a Charmander doesn't mean the game's over. Same thing if they put a little bit of pressure on early. Squawkabilly could go back to haunt us, but in this position it didn't punish you. You got to know when to put the Squawks and the Lumineons into play because you have to take the first 2 prizes. That's how it is. I don't care how you get them, you have to take the first 2 prizes. So far, so good. Who needs prize checking? Not this guy. Great Tusk, too slow in this matchup. We have to initiate. Once we get the 2 prizes, we're okay. Because once they take 2 prizes, and then they will, then it just becomes a back and forth. I almost called it a slog marker. Back and forth. Quick discard. We keep the lightning as a priority. They're harder to come by. Sada can also bring back the fighting. So can Sandy Shocks. So if we keep the lightning on the board, a little better off. And this is where things get a little interesting. They start swinging. We do need 5 energy to get the knockout. Even with the Defiance Band, they're not getting the Raging Bolt right away. However, a boss or a counter catcher will get you. They'll also use the 1 Lost Vacuum. They're targeting our acceleration. Makes sense, makes sense. Charizard without the Pidgeot, though, is such an underwhelming deck. Okay. There we go. So now we're on the 4-4 turn. Let's play it safe. Let's play it safe. And this is where they're just going to start reliably swinging. So we're going to Magnetic Absorption. We are going to... So 4 gets Pidgeot, 5 gets Charizard. Pidgeot. Charizard could have been an instant concede, but I want to make sure they're not going to Iono me, because if they even get a chance to climb back, they're going to come for it. Because Radiant Charizard can knock out one of the Pokemon on the bench, and because I've taken 4 prizes, it only attacks for 1 energy. It's not a difficult ask. They can have it in hand, they can have the pieces, they can build it. So by taking the bird off, makes them have 1 additional resource, and they have to start swinging with that Charizard. If they didn't already have the Radiant Zard. What are you going to do? Retreat both energy off that? You don't know what I have left. Okay. He keeps hunting the same thing. Of course, of course. We're going to stall out. And there's the Roxanne. So if I left the Pidgeot on the board, they definitely would have been securing a knockout. Okay, take that Squawk off the board. Ooh, this is kind of ugly. Let's put... We want to put the Sporters back, because we still want a Sada. There's so many games where I find myself running out of Sadas. Mismanagement, you decide. Double Lightning. Seal cards. Forest Seal Stone, the Bailout, Get Out of Jail free card. Let's see what we can get there. Of course, of course. Now, if I would have Sada to that, but we want to keep energy in the back line. So here, realistically, if they promote the Charizard EX, there's not much you can do. We can go either Raging Bolt. What are the odds they play double Roxanne? What are the odds they have double Roxanne? Touche. Touche. There's the Radiant Charizard. Big Charizard, big play. Okay. Too many pieces. But you are going to get there. We took the first 2 prizes. We initiated the trade. We are fine. 5 energy. Bellowing Thunder. Big beat stick deck doing big beat stick things. Second game in the books. Well played. Alright, let's see if we can get one more in. Just 3 up, 3 down. That's what we're aiming for. If only all videos played like this, we'd be in for a good time. We'll go... Oh my gosh, I'm going to lose coin flip here, aren't I? Yeah. What are they going to give me? Just make my decision easier. Your opponent will go first. They don't know. Okay. Is it Chempao? Is it... Going second does us a lot of favors. Okay. 1 prize Ancient Fox. Ancient Fox is another guilty pleasure deck I've been enjoying. See? You don't have to play Pokestop if your opponent plays it for you. We are totally going to gamble. But I'm not going to play the card. I'm not going to waste the deck spot. Okay. Well, I'll show you how initiating the trade a little early gets you there. Or so can a hit, because it's a tall ask for them to get through the Raging Sandy Shocks. Okay, start thinning energy. We don't want to draw these things. We really don't want to draw these things. Lightnings are priorities. Fightings are just surplus. Okay. And then we go Squawk. Just in case. Oh my goodness. Okay. Now, if I was playing the Pokestop, if it was my stop, it would not reward you like that. Okay, Raging Bolt. So far, so good. Discard. Oh, that's not bad. Are you going to get an attack off first turn? Okay, Sada. Yeah. Okay. Watch, I'll attach the Sandy Shocks and then not draw this. Okay. Let's put the... What on there? Raikou. Don't flash the Great Tusk right away. It's a surprise factor. Many people don't see it. So let's start digging. Of course. Now, if I would have Sada 2 that Sandy Shocks, I would not have drawn the Energy Switch. But that's okay. That's okay. Hero's Cape and Ancient Box. Something to explore. Lost Vacuum, of course, of course. Rolling Moon, questionable. Is what it is. Okay, Explorers. So typically, unless they have a couple combo pieces here, Dark Patch, Energy Switch, they're probably going to swing with the Baby Moon, which means Sandy Shocks should take a hit. Although, keep in mind, Lumineon, Squawk, and Sandy Shocks are all in victim weight. They can be easily taken down by the Ancient Box deck. Okay. You're really making me look bad with all these generous Pokestops. Not going to change my mind. I'm not a fan. You've just been kind to me one game. Forest Seal Stone. Would love to get the Prime Catcher. Probably should have price checked. Is it in there? I don't know. I'm going to full commit though. Star Alchemy. Of course. This is why we should probably price check. But I am... well, we'll keep her going. So we need 4 energy here, which is kind of ugly, but... 1. Keep forgetting how to do that. There we go. So 4. What are the odds they have the Sada attach Roaring Moon up? Why are you like this? Why? Oh well, we have for next turn. We do. And it's just a matter of keeping tabs on their deck size. Great Tusk is a closing option if we need it. Roaring Moon gets even easier to... Hero Scenario. Why? Why not just play Penny? You keep all the cards. You're playing Hero's Cape. Why not? Nope. No, we're not going to question this. I want to be one of those guys. Okay. Okay, so they do have the Frenzy Gouging, which means they need an attack around the bench as a follow-up. No? Maybe? Okay. Cool! Okay. I see it. I'll take the carrot. Keep discarding energy. Just big hands. No fear in sight. Also got to keep an eye on just in case that they're playing Great Tusk themselves. Okay. Energy. Never whiff the Sada on the Pokégears when you need it most. Would love that Collapsed Stadium right about now, but I'll just take the cheap knockout. 2 energy, gone. Keep it on the active. Dare you to have response. That's 3 prizes down. Oh, look at that. Okay, so Prime Catcher and double Sada. Please check your prize, folks. There's no way I'm not going to get punished for this in the next game if I take one. Booster Capsule. Ooh. Sada. Double Moon. Dark Patch. Switch Energy. Double Dark Patch. Really nice. Okay. I wish my Moon deck played like this. It's always usually a bunch of unplayables. But you love to see it. You do. Deck's doing deck things, so they have 10 cards. We're keeping a tab on that. Sometimes we can't outswing them, so we just have to... Yeah, okay. That's not bad. Ah, goddamn, we have way too many liabilities on the board. Okay. So far, keep the Tusk in the deck. Don't show them we have it. They might change the way they play. Collapsed. We'll discard the Squawk, because right now he's very small. Doesn't make sense to burn the Prime Catcher, so let's put some energy in the deck. If they're playing unorthodox cards, they might be playing Iono. You never know if they have an attacker charged up. Let's make them have the 220 knockout. So they're still, what, 2 or 3 pieces away? Okay. So we're down to 2. So if they manage to get their cards down to 4 left in deck and end their turn, we are going for the Great Tusk finish. 5 cards. A Sada and a Greninja would get us there. There's no need to Sada yet. There's no need to preemptively Sada. Okay. Okay, there's the Greninja. Come on. Sada. They still need to discard about 2 cards. It's 1. Oh, okay. We might be in a bit of danger here. 6 cards. Yes! There it is. We're going to get to do the Great Tusk thing. So Great Tusk thins just enough cards or cleans up. Because I have a feeling that they're holding a boss or a counter catcher. So if they get another turn, they win. That is what this is looking like. If they get another turn. But we're not giving it to them. No way, Jose. Switch up. Professor Sada. Clean up. We can't afford them to have another turn. We didn't have to play the Sada, but we're going to do it anyway. Gone. And that's it. Until next time, guys, take care, have fun.